Hello, it's Kenny again. This is theory lesson number 5. Now, just so you don't get the wrong idea off the start, you might think you're on the wrong channel. You might be thinking I'm teaching Italian or something. It's not the case. What this lesson is about, I will be teaching volume, symbols, and speed symbols. And they just happen to be written in Italian. The only reason for this is because music notation was actually developed in Italy over 1,000 years ago. You know, the monks were the first ones to actually write down music in monasteries with the Gregorian chant, and it developed that way. And it's just come in history that we use Italian. It has changed. By the 1800s, Beethoven, Mahler, they were writing in their own language, so you will see some German, you will see some French with composers like Debussy. And if you write a piece right now, you're welcome to say the word fast in English or whatever. But traditionally, we use Italian, all right? And it's not really that difficult. There's a bunch of words. You'll get to know them very quick. It's just like, you know, if you're eating pizza or spaghetti. You really don't have to know Italian to eat Italian food, so you just get to know it, all right? So that's all I'm saying. But the first thing we're going to do is all these symbols out here. We're going to go into volume first, okay? All of these symbols here that you're seeing, M's and P's and stuff, okay? They're based on P and F are the most common symbols you'll see in sheet music. P is soft, and it stands for piano. F is loud, and it stands for forte, all right? And those are Italian words for soft and loud. And believe it or not, the actual piano's name is the Pianoforte because when it was first developed about 200 years ago, it was a predecessor of the harpsichord and stuff, which didn't change volumes. So they invented this thing called the Pianoforte, all right? Actually, the forte piano came first, but it didn't last too long. So they invented this thing called the Pianoforte, which actually means the soft loud, all right? We just call it a piano, all right? But it was the first instrument that could actually play soft and loud. And that's based on the letters P and F, pianoforte. So P just stands for soft, forte, loud. All right? Now, we get into another little variations on it. You'll see this, MP. All right? That means mezzo piano. Mezzo kind of means middle, all right? So it's just, you know, a little less quiet, you know, than piano, all right? And then P and P, pianissimo. Some of my pronunciations are going to be wrong, all right? It's even less volume. It's going quieter and quieter and quieter. And then if you might even see this very rarely, but you might see it. 3 P's. And let me get this right. This is hard to say. Pianissimo. I don't know if I'm saying that wrong. So that's very quiet, all right? And likewise, here, M, that stands for mezzo, F, that stands for forte, all right? So it's mezzo, medium loud, all right? All right, it goes up a little, it's down a little from forte. These medium ones, you'll see them. They're a little bit difficult to understand, like what's medium loud and medium soft, what's the difference? It's hard to say. But when you do get in here, extra F's, all right? 2 F's, that's fortissimo. And then you get crazy here, fortissimo, really loud. So fortissimo, very loud, fortissimo, very loud, okay? Very simple once you get to know it. But the main things to realize is the P is soft, F is loud. And you see that on a score? Just play it softer or louder. It's pretty simple. However, there are ways of changing these volumes. You'll see here. Okay. All right, we switch screens here. We have some more words, also in Italian here. And this one's got 3 terms for it. Crescendo, you'll see. All right. And it can be abbreviated here. C-R-E-S-C dot. That means gradually louder. And it's also got a symbol here. All right. This one is a bit strange. if you like math or something, you'll be able to see it's greater. You know, this would be less than, greater. It doesn't matter. What you want to see is it's softer and it gets bigger. So that's also crescendo, okay? Likewise, here you have diminuendo. You'll see that quite often. That means that it can be shortened to dim, all right? Gradually softer, all right? And it also has a symbol, is bigger and goes down. And what's really interesting about this kind of symbol is you can see with the notes, it actually shows you the duration of the time. It starts little and gets bigger and bigger. And it's a lot easier than just saying diminuendo, get softer, or crescendo, gradually get louder. It's not as clear. With this, it can tell you exactly the amount of time, and sometimes it'll even tell you go from piano, go to soft, up to loud. All right? Then there's one little thing I have here. This is a crescendo sign. This is just a pet peeve of mine, all right? And I'm going to tell you this pet peeve, all right? You'll see it in sports. You'll see it in, in books and stuff, and people will say it's growing to a crescendo. This is a pet peeve of mine because what crescendo means is it's growing. It's gradually getting louder. So if you're saying growing to a crescendo, you're saying growing to gradually louder. It makes no sense. A crescendo is the process of getting louder. But that's my pet peeve, okay? Had to get that out of my system. All right, that is the volumes. But the main two you have to realize, P, F, all right? Piano and forte. All right, the other half of this lesson is tempi, okay? Now, tempi is, guess what? An Italian term for tempos, all right? It's speed. That's basically all it really means. It's just the speed, all right? And there's lots of words for this, too. I'm just going to use the most commonly used ones, all right? But first of all, very slow. Grave. Maybe it's grave. I don't know if my pronunciation is really good. All right, but that means very slow. Largo, slow. Adagio, slow. These are very common Italian words just for slow. All right, then it gets a little quicker. Andante, which actually translates to a walking pace, which is the same as moderato. Okay, what we're looking at there is just a moderate, normal pace. Okay. All right, we move on to this. Moderately fast, Allegrecto. Okay, not too fast, moderately fast. And then getting quicker, Allegro. I always like to think of leg. It's got leg in the word there. It makes it fast. You're using your legs on that one. Now this word you might have heard too, presto. Very fast. It's sort of into the English language, the word presto. And finally, prestissimo, extremely fast, okay? Those are just certain words, and you'll see these written right into the middle of the score, okay? It's nothing too hard. You just get used to it. Some of the more common ones, Allegro is one of the more common ones you'll see. Andante is very common. It's just a normal walking, easy pace. Largo, adagio for slow. You'll just get used to them. But they're just Italian words that we have taken over, okay? Again, when you have gradual changes, all right, switch this one more time. All right, here's another way. We don't have any symbols for this one, but gradually slower. Ritardando, to retard. It sort of comes into the English language to retard something, to just slow it down. All right, retardando. It can be shortened to RIT with a period, or retard as a piano. And that just means it's getting gradually slower. Okay, and the other term is accelerando. And it comes from, we got our word accelerate out of that, all right? To get gradually faster. So ACC and ACCEL. Accel are the abbreviations for it. Gradually faster, okay? So this is a kind of a strange lesson. It's it's just something you're going to come across. It's nothing you have to study. It's just stuff you'll just get to know over time. All right. Yes, it's not an Italian lesson, but I will tell you one last funny story. Okay, there's a very famous Italian composer of opera. His name was Giuseppe Verdi. He wrote things like Aida and Il Trovatore. But the funny thing is, Giuseppe Verdi, if you translate that into English, it comes out to John Green. Nothing wrong with anyone named John Green, but my goodness, it sounds a lot better as an Italian opera composer as Giuseppe Verdi, does it not? Okay, thank you very much. That was Theory Lesson 5 and a little bit of Italian for your day. Thank you very much.